Welcome to the first round of this simulation. You're playing the role of superintendent in a traditionally well-regarded district that is experiencing significant population shifts with a host of changing needs. Your challenge is to work with your cabinet, the school board, and a variety of stakeholders to develop a budget that will provide funding in an equitable manner. This will call for a different process than used in the past. It is a significant change that must be managed.
Click on the diamond-shaped desktop icon toward the bottom of the screen to access detailed background information in your file cabinet. It will remain available throughout the simulation. Click on the diamond-shaped desktop icon toward the bottom of the screen to access Click on the diamond-shaped desktop icon. While you recognize that you were hired to execute the board's vision for the district, you also bring your own values and perspective to discussions of how to best meet present and future needs. As you look ahead to the budgeting process, you recognize the need to distribute resources equitably. Does that mean lower performing schools should get the same resources as high performing schools? Or should they get more to support efforts at reducing the gap, bringing performance up and boosting average performance? The performance of Black and Latino students is of concern. You also see a growing influx of emergent bilinguals and consider that the earlier they have access to the targeted supports they need, including adequate and rigorous literacy dual language programs, the better equipped they would be to achieve success in their learning experiences. As you lead the strategic dialogue about priorities, Deputy Superintendent Ashish Kumar is leading the effort to move to a student-focused budgeting process. As you move through the process of establishing a common vision among stakeholders and making it achievable through the budgeting process, you'll interact with various characters who seek to gain or limit influence. You'll begin meeting them as you start the simulation. Good luck. The summer has gone by quickly. You're in your office and working through your inbox, cleaning out some of the clutter, when you get several new emails. You never know who will walk into your office next, so you grab this time to catch up a bit. Email from Board Chair. Just wanted to send you a quick note to say I'm looking forward to another great year. As always, there are plenty of challenges ahead, but I'm glad we've developed a solid working relationship over these past few years to see us through the rough patches. One major challenge I see ahead of us is to work through the budget process in a way that brings the board together with your staff in harmonizing a financial plan that will serve the needs of the district and reflect the priorities of our school communities. Email from Deputy Superintendent for Operations. When you have a chance, I'd like to set up some time for us to review our budgeting process for the year, taking a look at the calendar and trying to get ahead of the curve. Let me know when you might have some time. Sooner is better than later. Email from Principal. Dear Superintendent, I am writing to express my heightened sense of urgency to secure appropriate resources for the students in my school. We will see an even greater influx of emergent bilingual students. We will require additional resources, which have, frankly, been inadequate in the past. I recognize that this email circumvents the chain of command, but it represents me pulling the alarm, so to speak. I look forward to following the budget process to see how this issue is addressed. You are treated to a quick visit by Carl Mazer, the president of Copeland Parents United, a coalition of parents from around the district.
As the year gets underway, I'd like to ask that our organization be included in the budgeting process. I speak for many of our members who feel excluded from the discussions and feel they only have an opportunity for input when it really seemed too late to have any impact. While I'm here, can I get on your schedule to talk details?
You're interrupted by your admin saying that the chief of police is here for an unscheduled visit. This is rather uncommon for the chief to arrive unannounced, so you check your schedule and see that you can accommodate a brief conversation. Your admin shows the chief into your office.
I'm hearing that many of the district schools are not feeling secure enough, especially given some of the incidents last year. I know there are people who want to see more metal detectors in all the upper schools. I don't doubt you get some community pressure to do just that. The detectors that are currently installed have increased the sense of security in those schools that have them. I am happy to discuss security issues anytime.
After the chief leaves, you reflect on his message and make a note to speak to Ashish about it when you connect with him on scheduling time to discuss the budgeting process. You forward the principal's email to the assistant superintendent for equity and access, as well as the chief school improvement officer, asking for their input. Both reply confirming the anticipated increase in emergent bilingual students, as well as acknowledging this area has been chronically underfunded. You make a note to call Carl Mazer to speak about the concerns he is hearing from within Copeland Parents United. You decide to begin getting ready for a public meeting with the Board of Education in mid-August to establish interests and priorities in preparation for the budgeting process. Which of the following will you do first to prepare for the meeting? The little blue dots on the buttons below indicate more information is available. Once you've chosen an option for your response, click the Continue button to advance. What factors did you consider in choosing your top priority? What risks may have been involved in choosing something else instead? Write your response below. It will be retrieved at the end of the simulation. After reviewing minutes and materials from last year's budget meetings, you recognize you'll need to work with Ashish to design a few more sessions with the board discussing the structure to be used in building an equity-based budget. Email from Elena Marquez. I wanted to re-emphasize that every day I see how critical elementary literacy can be as a foundation, how predictive it is of future success. Every day I see more opportunities for us to address it. I'll say it over and over. Elementary literacy should be our top priority. Email from Pat Branch. I support our investments in elementary literacy and want to be sure we recognize the expanded resources needed for those efforts. Let's anticipate all that goes along with a focus on elementary literacy program to maximize success. Thank you for your consideration. In addition to the regular business items from the board meeting, the minutes reflect several items of strong interest: school security, improvements to properties, career pathways, expanded AP class enrollment, improving elementary literacy. Improving elementary literacy has been a passionate cause for Elena Marquez, Assistant Superintendent for Equity and Access, who is glad to see it brought up in the first public board meeting. In your cabinet meeting, however, Pat Branch, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, notes that she considered the scope of that initiative to be much larger than previously anticipated. Disagreement among these two is frequent and no surprise, but this topic gives rise to an uncharacteristically heated exchange.
We need to have urgency around elementary literacy, particularly in the earlier grades. If kids aren't reading at grade level by the end of third grade, their chances of dropping out increase. Their chances of graduating go down, and their chances of going to jail become higher. They are pretty much doomed. Nothing is more important than raising literacy levels in the earlier grades.
No one cares more about literacy than I do. But the fact is that we've got a lot of competing demands. We've got issues with math. We've got issues with students not having access to higher level courses in high school. We need culturally responsive material that we'll need to train the teachers on. I agree, elementary literacy is important, but it's not the only thing.
I'm not saying it's the only thing we need. I'm saying it's the most important thing.
It will be a huge undertaking, and we don't know that we're going to get the support for the board for the kind of investment that we need to make, particularly given the other needs that we have.
What will you do now? A neighboring district is reporting 3 new cases of measles, enough to qualify as an outbreak. You've already heard that one of the students had been granted a vaccination exemption, which is now the subject of intense debate. Principals seek more support for student mental health and behavioral issues. Teachers ask for more PD and less testing. Principals also note that personalized learning is broadly seen as too much work. You speak with Ashish about the budgeting process and the need to continue the change effort with the board.
I'm getting the sense that as we move through the budgeting process, we have to figure out the best way to involve the board. I want to do all we can to ensure that you have their support to get this budget passed. I could use your guidance about how we should involve them throughout the process.
You get a call from a colleague who is now the superintendent at a neighboring district. What would you want to share about or ask about at this point in the budgeting process in order to get their perspective?